For years, I thought mindset was total BS. I'm a firm owner. I care about billables, systems, cash flow, profit. I don't care about all of this airy fairy stuff. But after years of watching hundreds of business owners and law firms succeed and others crumble under the same exact conditions, I realized something. That ultimately everything in life starts in the mind, and that is the source of all our success and failures. So, having the right mindset heading into 2026 will be the key to unlock your law firm's potential and for you to lead a more prosperous and satisfying life. Over the years, I've come to realize three things that's really impacted the way I show up in business. The first thing is being positive. We've all heard the old glass half full spiel, but it's absolutely true. The world is multifaceted, and there isn't a single definable version of reality. It's kind of like looking at a ball. You never see the full picture of the ball from any one angle. So from whichever angle you choose to look at this ball, it's ultimately a version of the truth. So you can say all angles are true. So whether you look at the ball from a negative angle or a positive angle, both are valid. But the thing is, the perspective that will get you the results that you want, i.e. a better life and a better business, then looking at it from a positive angle is by far the better choice. So it's your choice, it's our choice, to look at things positively or negatively. But choosing positivity helps and negativity doesn't. So it's a no-brainer. And so this leads me into the second mindset, which is in business, you're always doing something fundamentally uncertain. The thing I realized over the years was that in business, there's no such thing as the perfect path or the perfect plan. By creating and owning a legal service business, you are by definition trying to do something you haven't personally done before. Yes, other people might have done something similar. There are case studies, mentors, frameworks, and loads of other examples you can point to. But no one has ever done it in your exact situation, with your innate skills, your talents, your strengths, your weaknesses, hang-ups, blind spots, and opportunities, and the specific environment that you operate in. That means, by definition, there is no way for you to know with certainty whether you've chosen the right path or the right plan, because you're doing something new for you. And because of that, trying to optimize for certainty is counterproductive. Yes, have a mental idea of what you want to do and roughly how you want to achieve it. But at some point, you have to realize that it doesn't actually matter whether the goal is objectively achievable or whether this was the perfect decision. None of that is the determining factor. What ultimately matters is whether you have deep conviction in yourself, almost like a form of faith, that you will do whatever it takes for however long it takes to get you where you want to go. That conviction isn't about believing that the path is perfect. It's about believing in your ability to walk the path. And this is essentially what Alex Hormozi gets at, is that conviction and execution matters more than the path you've taken. And the practical effect of this mindset is pretty big. When you encounter problems, and you will, when they show up, you don't collapse into doubt over your initial decision. Because you fundamentally believe you can figure it out, you start looking for ways through. You adapt, you adjust, you keep moving. That belief in your own capacity to execute is what carries you forward, not the plan itself. Now, moving on to the third thing. This is what happens when things get hard, because they will. There's always going to be pain. There's always going to be a lot on at once. Client deadlines, multiple pressure points, uncertainty, things breaking, and emotions running high. At that point, the skill that matters most is your ability to center on yourself, to filter out the noise. If you think about it, your mind is just full of voices, right? These doubts, this commentary, judgments, and all these distractions. And if you're not careful, you get pulled into them, especially the negative ones, and you start identifying with the voice. But as some extremely wise people have said in the past, you're not that voice. You're the one observing that voice. You notice it. You almost say hello to yourself. And you don't let your internal energy get disturbed. You don't let yourself get dragged into the noise because that voice isn't who you are. There's a kind of a wholeness there. This idea of centering on yourself. And when you do that, you start to realize that everyone has an inner guide. It's strong, but it's usually drowned out by everything else. Now, the work is we need to stay calm enough to hear it and then holding on to that inner core. That's what allows you to keep going when things get painful. When difficult situations arise, when people complain, when clients complain, when problems escalate, you see all of that stuff, it's all part of business. In fact, if you're not creating some level of disturbance, you're probably not doing anything meaningful. So centering on yourself is what lets you stay steady while all of that stuff is happening, without shutting down and without losing your direction. So I guess all of these three things in a nutshell is you choose the positive angle because it's the only one that actually gives you energy to move. You accept the uncertainty of your plan because you have deep conviction in your own ability to figure it out as you go. And when the pressure inevitably spikes, you center on yourself so you can hear your own inner guide instead of all the noise. And that's the mental stuff that actually moved the needle. It's not about having a perfect 20-page strategic plan for 2026. It's about being the kind of person who can stay steady, positive, and keep executing no matter what the world throws at your firm. If you get that mindset right, the business side of things usually has a way of following suit. So that's what's been on my mind. I'll try and hold on to these three things myself this week as well. And I really hope it helps you for you to do the same. I'll talk to you soon.